Hi everyone. My name is Aiman. I'm from Bachelor in Teaching English as a Second Language, and today for my assignment of Philosophy and Current Issue, I would like to do a movie review about a recent hit movie in 2023, which the movie called Oppenheimer, starred by Cillian Murphy. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, what is this movie about? So the movie is directed by Christopher Nolan, and the year release, of course, 2023, and it's been distributed by Universal Pictures. And the movie cast is, of course, we got our Cillian Murphy play as Oppenheimer. We got Matt Damon play as General Leslie Groves, and we also got Robert Downey Jr. play as Louis Strauss, and then we got Emily Blunt play as Catherine Oppenheimer, and we also got Florence Pugh that play as Jin Tatlock. So Matt Damon play as a U.S. Army officer, and Louis Strauss, who played by Robert Downey Jr., is a atomic U.S. Atomic Energy Commission chairman in this movie. And then for this movie, they won, I would say, a major like 305 nomination, and they won 194 of it, and that's just like including major and minor award. But if we only say on major award, they won 27 out of 47 award. And here's some of the notable awards. In Oscar or 96 Academy Award, they won the Best Picture, they won the Best Cinematography, and also Best Film, I think. And that's also included as the Christopher Nolan won as a Best Director, and also Cillian Murphy won as a Best Actor. At the first Golden Globe Award, they won Best Motion Picture, and in '77, BAFTA, which is a British Academy Film Awards, they won as Best Film, and in '29 Critics' Choice Award, they won included Best Picture. So that's like some of the awards that they won. But again, 194 awards across 305 nominations, that's insane for a movie like Oppenheimer. Next, we go to the summary. So what is the movie is about? For those who never watch it, yeah. So this movie is actually based on the biography of American Prometheus, biography called American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin. So here's in the biography is a story about J. Robert Oppenheimer, once again played by Cillian Murphy, is an American physicist who led the infamous Manhattan Project during World War II and became known as a father of atomic bomb. This movie is follow Oppenheimer's journey from his early scientific brilliance to his moral and emotional turmoil. After realizing the devastating impact of his creation, it explores themes of science, power, guilt, and moral responsibility. In this movie, they also show how his invention changed the course of history and left him haunted by its consequences. So, in the summary, this movie is literally a life of Robert Oppenheimer and all his basic. You can essentially see the consequences of what I have done in this in the Manhattan Project. Now we're moving to the themes of the movie. So I choose three of the theme that I think is, you know I would say is like perfectly picture how the movie goes. So the first theme is moral responsibility and the ethics of the knowledge. So here, we learn the Oppenheimer moral struggle reflects the ethic of responsibility, because the question is, should scientists be responsible for how their discoveries are used? Because remember, like all the scientists, even to these days, like, they always want to get named for, like, they want to known as, or as a first person that introduced it, as a first person who invented this. But here's the thing: how far can you go, or what's the boundaries of your invention, or what's the consequences of the invention? So the same question goes to Oppenheimer himself, and it connects to moral and philosophy and existential ethics, where human freedom. human freedoms require accountability for one's choices. And his infamous creation, atomic bomb creation, raised the dilemma between scientific progress and moral consequences. Secondly, is the power and the danger of human rationality. So again, the film questioned whether reason and science, when detached from morality, which can which can lead to destruction. Again, Oppenheimer is seen in this movie as it embodies the paradox of human intellect capable of creation and annihilation simultaneously. So remember, he is a father of atomic bomb. He created the atomic bomb. For what one thing is a amazing how an atom can be created as a bomb. And again, unfortunately, when it falls to the wrong hand, that's where it gets worse. And in the team also, it mirrors Nietzsche's warning about the will to power and Enlightenment philosophy faith in rationality. So what is Nietzsche's will to power? Is by Friedrich Nietzsche. It's a human desire to gain upper hand. So remember, this happens during World War II, where if you have an upper hand against another countries, you consider as a bigger threat to the others. So how do you do that? By creating a bomb. So they already have like a bomb, but no one has created something that even more devastating than atomic bomb. And fortunately enough, due to the Manhattan Project, Oppenheimer himself discovered that and won. Basically, you could say America won against this atomic bomb war, like the creation, while the other countries fall out from the incident. And the Enlightenment philosophy is a faith in rationality, is a belief that human reason, logic, and scientific thinking towards it are the most reliable path to the knowledge and society improvement, challenging traditional authority, superstition, and blind faith. So it's like so like basically that when you create something powerful for yourself, yeah, one again it's like oh like you won against other people, like it doesn't mean you have to use it, right? Unfortunately, not in this case. So we know what happened in World War II. We know what the consequences in the World War II. And lastly, for the for the team is creation, destruction, and the duality of existence. This the okay. So in the movie, there's a quote, not in just the movie, even in real life. Oppenheimer quoted from the Bhagavad Gita. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. So this quote comes from the book Bhagavad Gita by Maharishi Vyasa, and it centers on the conflict between scientific creation and its world-destroying consequences. This reflects the Eastern philosophy's cyclical view of creation and annihilation and Western metaphysics about the dual nature of being. It's like one thing when you create something doesn't mean when you when you create something it also becoming something that can destroy itself. Now un, Oppenheimer, likely or not, has become a symbol of humanity godlike power and is an existential weight that comes with it. Because now because of his big breakthrough, everyone has feared that to Oppenheimer, even though to Oppenheimer himself, he also now scared about what his creation has become, and you can see it to this day. Next, we talk about the characterization in the movie. So first we go to the main character himself, J. Robert Oppenheimer. So Robert Oppenheimer is a scientist. Is a scientist. As a scientist, you always wanted to push yourself to the limit, push yourself above above the boundary. But now in the movie, but now with his creation, now he's torn between the scientific progress and also the moral responsibility that comes with it. So his stories actually reflect to the idea of existentialists by Jean Paul Sartre, which means the freedom that requires responsibility for one's choices. And he also, and his lifestyle, you could also say he's connected to Kantian ethics. What is Kantian ethics? It's basically doing what is needed that is morally right without thinking consequences. Again, you have to put him in his shoe. He's a scientist. What his job is to make sure is to create something that is like, of course, thing like is for a better, for good of people. Unfortunately, that without thinking the consequences of their creation. Second character, the generalistic growth, who I say played by Matt Damon. He's a U.S. Army officers that oversee the whole project, the Manhattan Project. So he represents utilitarianism. So what is that? It's an ethical theory that makes an action that benefits the majority. So this is a thought where, you know what, if in the simple way you can say, okay, you know what, I know even though it seems wrong, but if it's for better for my people, it's a good for the society, I would do it. That's kind of the idea. And then we move to the Robert Downey Jr. character, which he played Louis Strauss in this movie. So Louis Strauss is someone who you could say is an egoistic, ego, someone who has ego, someone who has jealousy over J. Robert Oppenheimer. So he reflects on the focus idea of knowledge and control. What is focus idea? It's basically a knowledge control society narrative where if you have a power of knowledge, you can control people below you. That is Louis Strauss. And you can see how he direct all the media attention by lying about J. Robert Oppenheimer in the movie. Next we go to the plot of the movie. So in the early stage, you see it's a scientific idealism. Oppenheimer begins as a curious, idealistic scientist who believes in the Enlightenment idea. He represents as someone who has rationalism. With rationalism is a faith in human reason and science to improve life. He starts as a like basically someone who is basically a naive. Like I do create. I hope it's for good of the people. But unfortunately, the turning point in this movie is when the Trinity test takes in. When the bomb it becomes a success, becomes both a scientific achievement in that time, but it also becomes a moral crisis. Because remember this movie talks about because remember how the devastating the bomb has become, and now it become marks the shift from intellectual pride to ethical awakening. This reflects how how the freedom and creation comes with responsibility to Oppenheimer himself. And now, in the later stage, there is a guilt and reflection. Now, due to his creation, Oppenheimer now have to face the emotion, his own consequences of his choice, haunted by destruction that he created, which symbolized the moral awareness and guilt. But unfortunately, nothing could be done because, because he works for the U.S. government. He doesn't know. I mean, he kind of knows what is useful, but he just never expected how devastating it could be. So to the conclusion. So what's the conclusion? So what do I talk about this movie? So first of all, it connects to the science and morality. The film shows that intelligence and knowledge are not enough. You know, it's without ethics and progress can become destructive. This tension between creation and responsibility make the story intellectually and morally engaging. So you you can see in the movie that how much the conflict it makes, like from creation and destruction itself. Secondly, we go to the second point is humanize as historical figure. So in the movie, you can see how Oppenheimer is not shown as a hero or villain, but more as a deeply conflicted thinker. The Either the hero or villain narrative in this movie is gonna get interpreted by the audience themselves. His internal struggle invite us to reflect our own moral choices and the way of our decision. Some of us will see him as a hero, some of us see him as a villain. depending the situation you are in, which understandably is why Oppenheimer doesn't seem as a hero or villain in this movie. And lastly, it challenges your own personal reflection. There is a question about our boundaries, like if you're in his position, do you make the same choice? Do you still create something that you know it will cause a destruction? But again, we can only do so much with the information. So this personal engagement is what makes the theme truly intriguing. It's not just about history, but about us as as a people. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you very much for those who listen to this, and hopefully, thank you again for your attention, and hopefully, you enjoy to my presentation today. Thank you.